So I think at this time, beginning in 1987, that Castro he was the most anxious than he had ever been to have good relations with the United States. And I think for the first time he was really prepared in order to achieve this, to make really substantial changes, including changes primarily in his international posture and the international role that he played. The most important thing was going to be was Angola. And as John said, this had really prevented, they're sending troops to Angola and Ethiopia, that this had prevented the U.S. moving in the early days under Carter to real formal, official diplomatic relations. So when I got there, I spent the first 6 or 8 weeks talking with 150 or 200 people, diplomats, the usual interlocutors in the Cuban government, but other Cubans that were students, intellectuals, professors, what have you, and the foreign diplomats that were serious Castro watchers. And it was pretty obvious to me that everybody was saying pretty much the same thing, that Castro did feel he had now to get out of Angola. That he wanted to take part in the talks that were going on that had been brokered by Assistant Secretary Crocker in Angola that involved Angola, South Africa, and the Soviet Union. The South Africans had some troops there. They were siding with UNITA against the Angolan government. And the Angolans and the Soviets said you should let Cuba take part. And in the State Department, the ARA Bureau, the Latin American Bureau, under Elliott Abrams, they strongly opposed this. They said that Castro would simply disrupt and destroy the negotiations on Angola. So after this 6 or 8 weeks there, talking with everyone I could find, it seemed to me that that Castro did need to get out, not that he certainly had a change of heart. So in my cable back to the department, I said just this, that anyway, it appeared probably we wouldn't get an agreement in Angola. The Angolans had these Cubans there, unless the Cubans took part, and we could test and see whether or not they really were cooperative. In the meanwhile, during those first couple of months, during a reception, Castro had called me into the inner sanctum that John mentioned, and he had said that Cuba would like to take part in the talks, and Cuba would be cooperative. So this was the cable that I sent off. I said, I think they probably will be cooperative because they need to be. The Soviets want to settle this problem, and they want to get the Cubans out of there. And the Cubans can't stay very long if the Soviets don't say okay. So, but I got a zinger back from ARA, the Latin American Bureau, that said I didn't know what I was talking about. I'd only been there 2 months, and that Castro would not get out of Angola until South Africa became communist. Well, there was a battle going on at that time in the State Department between the African Bureau under Chet Crocker, who very much wanted the Cubans to take part. Anyway, my cable was very useful in that debate, I think. And during my exchange of further discussions, before we really opened serious talks with the Cubans on this, I said it's evident from my talks that Castro also, he wants to see what is the benefit for him of getting out of this. I think he does need badly to get out of Angola. But if we want to then move on to other issues, that we have to let him understand that there will be some payoff for him. There will be an improvement in relations. So this became another issue, whether or not we actually ever wanted to say that to them, that if they were cooperative on this issue, there would be an improvement of relations. But finally, on Christmas Day, in 1987, I received a cable from the State Department telling me to go in and talk to the Cubans and say this was an official approach to them on the Angolan issue, our first official approach, and give them our position and tell them what we hope to achieve and what the goals were, and wanted to know what the Cuban position was and what they were willing to do in the negotiations.